The alien world of Voronine was dying. The first warning came as a deep rumble under the ground. Buildings shook. Glass windows cracked. The sky changed from blue to a dark, angry red. No one understood what was happening at first. Children pointed at the sky. Adults searched for answers. Then the second rumble came, loud and violent, and the truth became clear. The planet was breaking apart. In the main city, millions of civilians ran through the streets. Dust filled the air. Roads split open like giant claws. Tall towers leaned to the side, ready to fall. Screams echoed everywhere. The people of Voronine looked up toward the stars, hoping to see rescue ships. They saw nothing. The Galactic Council had already made their decision. Inside a large, floating space station above the planet, a group of alien leaders held a quiet meeting. Their holograms flickered on the screen. "Evacuation?" one asked. "It is impossible," another replied coldly. "There are 3 million civilians. Too many. Too far. Too little time." A third leader spoke with an emotionless voice. "Declare them as acceptable losses. Prioritize military assets only." With a simple vote, the fate of 3 million souls was sealed. Down below, on the shaking surface of Voronine, people tried to contact the council. Screens lit up with desperate messages. "Please respond. Our buildings are falling. We need evacuation ships. Please." Every message received the same reply. "No rescue available. Survive if you can." It was not a message of hope. It was a death sentence. The third-person narrator watched this world like a camera in the sky. The suffering was impossible to ignore. Everywhere, people tried to save their families. Parents carried children through burning streets. Elderly civilians cried for help that would never come. Giant firestorms broke out as the planet's crust continued to crack. At the edge of the city, a massive tower collapsed, sending a shockwave of dust across the land. Thousands screamed as they ran, but many fell under the falling debris. Dust covered the bodies. Their cries slowly faded. Still no one came. A group of rescuers, local volunteers, formed a human chain to pull survivors from the rubble. They had no proper equipment. No protection. Only hope. They worked through smoke and heat, lifting heavy stones with bare hands. But the ground shook again, harder this time. Cracks spread like lightning across the streets. One rescuer shouted, "The whole district is collapsing." People ran, but the ground swallowed many of them. Their hands reached upward as the earth closed over them. Millions were trapped. Millions were terrified. Millions waited for the Galactic Council to send rescue ships. But the Council had already closed their communication channels. Their final message echoed coldly. "We cannot help. Acceptable losses." Those words stabbed deeper than the falling buildings. Far away, on a small human listening post orbiting a distant moon, a young human officer named Mora Hale was scanning incoming broadcasts when she heard the emergency signals. At first she thought it was background noise. But the screams repeated. The desperate messages repeated. She turned up the volume. Static. Cries. Explosions. And one final message. "If anyone hears us, please, we are 3 million. We do not want to die." Mora froze. Her heart beat fast. She played the message again. Then again. Each time she heard new voices. Mothers begging. Children crying. Whole families calling for help. She contacted Earth Command immediately. "Sir, we need to listen to this." Her commander arrived, expecting something small. But the moment he heard the recordings, his face turned pale. "These people, they were abandoned?" he whispered. "Yes, sir," Mora replied. "The council left them." The commander straightened. "This message, has it reached any other species?" "No, sir. We received it by accident. The council blocked it from the networks." The commander stared out the window at the stars. He knew what this meant. The galaxy had already decided to let 3 million lives die. But humans were different. They were not perfect, not the strongest, not the richest. But they were known for one thing. They did not ignore cries for help. Mora's voice shook as she asked, "Sir, what do we do?" The commander answered without hesitation. "We send it to Earth. All of it. Every scream. Every message." On Earth, the broadcast played in front of military leaders, scientists, rescue teams, and even civilians. The room fell silent. Some covered their mouths. Others clenched their fists. A child's voice came through the speakers. "Please, is someone out there? We don't want to die." Someone in the room broke into tears. The silence ended when Earth's defense commander stood up and said, "Prepare every rescue ship we have." "Sir?" an officer asked. "The council said it's impossible." The commander looked straight ahead. Good. Then we will show them what humans do when others give up. The narrator concluded part 1 with heavy suspense. They wrote off 3 million souls. They turned their backs. They chose to walk away. But humanity refused. And humanity was coming. The rescue fleet moved through the dark side of space like silent shadows. No songs. No cheers. Only the hum of engines and the heavy breath of people who knew they were racing against death. Commander Rhea Hale stood on the bridge of the flagship Valerian, staring at the hologram of the abandoned colony world, Elindra 7. The map pulsed with red zones. It showed collapsed cities, flooded power grids, broken communications, and strange heat signatures moving across the forests. They said the colony was destroyed, Rhea whispered. But look, something is still alive. Beside her, Captain Marlowe crossed his arms. Maybe those heat signatures are the colonists. Or maybe there's something else, Rhea replied. Everyone on the bridge felt the chill of those words. Because the Union Council had declared Elindra 7 a lost cause. A dead world. A world not worth saving. But Rhea and her team knew the truth. 3 million people had not died. They had been left behind. And now the fleet had only one goal. Find them before something else does. The ghost signal. Commander, the communications officer said suddenly. We're picking up something. Rhea turned. What kind of signal? It's broken. Weak. Like a whisper. Coming from the planet's surface. Rhea leaned closer as static filled the bridge. Then, a voice broke through. A weak, trembling voice. Help, please. Anyone, we are still here. Everyone froze. The message repeated, shaky and full of fear. They left us to die. Someone, please, help. The officer swallowed hard. Commander, this is not an automated distress call. Someone alive is sending this. Rhea clenched her fists. Her heart pounded. How long? She asked. How long has this been broadcasting? The officer checked the data. His face turned pale. Almost 9 months. 9 months. 9 months of calling for help in the silent void. 9 months of being ignored. Rhea felt something inside her burn. Anger. Shame. Determination. We're going down, she said. Prepare dropships. Warnings in the dark. The fleet moved into low orbit. Dropships lined up like steel arrows ready to break through the clouds. But before Rhea could board her ship, a new alert flashed on the holoscreen. Unidentified energy spikes. High-speed movement. Non-human patterns. The sensors officer whispered, Commander, something is moving on the planet's surface. Rhea stared. Defined something. I don't know. The signatures don't match human, animal, or machine. Marlowe rubbed his forehead. This colony wasn't abandoned because of a natural disaster, was it? Rhea shook her head slowly. No. The council lied. They covered something up. And now we're walking into it, Marlowe said. Yes, Rhea answered, because the people down there are alive. And scared. And calling for us. Her voice grew stronger. And humanity does not abandon its own. Descent into the silence. The dropships launched. Storm clouds rolled under them. Blue lightning flashed. The world below looked twisted and strange. Forests glowing faintly, cities half buried in roots and vines, and metallic ruins rising from the ground like bones. Inside Rhea's dropship, soldiers checked weapons and breathing gear. None of them spoke. Their faces were tight with fear and curiosity. Everyone kept hearing the same broken message inside their helmets. Please, someone, don't leave us here. As they entered the atmosphere, the signal changed. A new voice came through, this one colder, deeper. A whisper that did not sound human. They are ours now. Static exploded. The message cut off. Rhea's blood ran cold. Who the hell was that? Marlowe asked. No idea, Rhea said. But whatever it is, it doesn't want us here. The dropship shook violently. Something large moved in the clouds beside them, something with long shadows and strange wings. The soldiers gripped their seats. Commander, the pilot shouted. Unidentified aerial contact, closing fast. Rhea rushed to the front. Through the window she saw a shape flying parallel to them. Not metal. Not organic. Something between both. It had bright blue eyes that glowed like fire. What is that? A soldier whispered. Rhea didn't answer. She couldn't. She didn't know. But the creature banked, spiraled upward, then vanished into the storm. Almost like was watching them, judging them, waiting. The first survivors. The dropships broke through the clouds and finally reached the ground. A ruined city stretched around them. Buildings collapsed, streets cracked open, and strange glowing vines wrapped around everything. The silence was heavy and unnatural. As the soldiers stepped off, Rhea scanned the area. Stay close. Stay alert. Then she saw movement behind a broken wall. Someone peeked out. A woman. Thin, dirty, shaking. Her clothes were torn. Her eyes were red from crying for months. When she saw Rhea and the soldiers, she fell to her knees. You came, she whispered. You finally came. Rhea rushed forward and caught her before she collapsed. You're safe now, Rhea said softly. We're here. But the woman clutched Rhea's armor with desperate hands. No, she whispered. No one is safe, not anymore. Rhea frowned. What happened? Who attacked the colony? The woman's voice cracked. They told us we were being rescued, but it wasn't rescue, it was... She shook her head violently. It was a harvest. The soldiers exchanged shocked looks. Rhea felt cold fear spread through her chest. Then the woman grabbed her wrist and whispered the words that froze everyone. They're coming back tonight. The survivors were taken inside the ruins of an old government building. Dust floated in the air. The windows were broken. Strange blue vines crept across the walls like veins on a sick planet. Commander Rhea Hale looked around the room. There were maybe 20 survivors, thin, tired, hungry but alive. Their eyes followed every sound, every shadow, as if danger could leap from anywhere. The woman who had warned them earlier sat on a broken chair, covered in a blanket. Her name was Dr. Lyra Soren. Before the collapse, she had been the colony's chief biologist. Now she looked like someone who had seen the universe die. Rhea knelt beside her. Dr. Soren, tell us everything. What happened to Elindra, 7? Lyra's hands trembled as she spoke. It started with lights in the sky. At night, we saw shapes moving above the clouds. Then people started disappearing. One, then two, then whole blocks. She looked up, eyes wet with fear. We thought it was a new alien species. But it wasn't. It was something older, much older. Rhea felt a knot form in her stomach. Who are they? Lyra whispered. We call them harvesters. The first attack. The survivors gathered closer, listening. Lyra continued, her voice shaking. They don't come in ships. They come from the air. From storms. From shadows. They don't speak. They don't negotiate. They only take. A young soldier beside Rhea swallowed hard. Take what? Lyra stared at him. People. The room went silent. They lift them into the sky. They trap them in blue light like insects. And then, they don't return. A child in the corner started crying. His mother held him close. Rhea's jaw tightened. How many were taken? Lyra hugged herself. Almost 2 million during the first month. A soldier cursed under his breath. Another said softly, My God. Lyra shook her head. No. God didn't come. No one came. Not even the Union Council. One survivor spat on the floor. They told us to hide in shelters. Then they told us help was coming. And then, nothing. Rhea felt anger boil inside her. We came, she said firmly. We won't leave you. But Lyra looked away, her voice breaking. You don't understand. You shouldn't have come. The night they returned. Rhea frowned. You said they are coming back tonight. How do you know? Lyra closed her eyes. They come every 9 days. Always at night. Always when the storms are strongest. And tonight is the 9th night. A cold chill rolled through the room. Rhea stepped back and spoke to her team. Marlowe, seal the building. Put scanners on the roof. Prepare for an aerial attack. Marlowe nodded. Understood. Soldiers moved quickly, setting up barriers, motion sensors, and thermal drones. But Rhea couldn't shake the feeling that they were preparing for the wrong kind of enemy. These harvesters didn't sound like anything she had ever faced. The strange marking. As Rhea walked through the building, she noticed something scratched on the floor. Symbols. Circles. Lines. Patterns she had never seen before. Dr. Soren, Rhea called. What is this? Lyra looked and her face turned pale. That appeared after the first attacks. We don't know what it means. But every place where these symbols show up, the harvesters visit soon after. Rhea examined the carvings closely. They look like coordinates, she said. Lyra's eyes widened. That's what we fear. Before Rhea could respond, one of her soldiers ran in. Commander, we found something on the roof. Rhea rushed after him. The harvester remains. On the roof the wind was harsh. Blue lightning cracked across dark clouds. 2 soldiers crouched near a large metal object. Except, it didn't look like metal. It looked like a mix of bone and machine, smooth and sharp like something grown, not built. What is this? Rhea asked. One soldier pointed his scanner. It dropped from the sky during the storm an hour ago. No life signs. But it's not dead either. It's dormant. The object suddenly twitched. Everyone jumped back. Blue veins pulsed across its surface. Then a small eye, yes, an eye, opened in the center. It stared at Rhea. Cold. Empty. Ancient. Destroy it. Marlowe shouted. No, Rhea said quickly. We need to understand it first. The eye blinked again. And then it spoke, not with a voice but with a deep, vibrating hum that seemed to enter everyone's bones. Harvest begins. The soldiers froze in terror. Rhea took a step back as the sky above them split open with white and blue light. The storm of wings. The clouds churned violently. Shapes moved inside them, massive, dark, insect-like and mechanical at the same time. Hundreds. No, thousands. Rhea's heart pounded. They're early, Lyra whispered. This is the biggest group we've ever seen. A soldier screamed. Commander, look. The first harvester broke through the clouds. A giant figure with long metallic wings and glowing blue tendrils. It didn't roar. It didn't scream. It only released one cold, echoing word. Collect. The ground shook. More harvesters descended. The survivors in the building screamed and ran for cover. Rhea grabbed her rifle. Marlowe. Protect the civilians. Prepare anti-air fire. Marlowe took command of the soldiers. What about you? Rhea looked at the sky filled with monsters. I'm going to make sure humanity does not lose another soul tonight. The first harvester struck the ground like a falling star. A shockwave ripped through the ruined city, breaking windows, shaking rooftops, and sending dust clouds rolling through the streets. The survivors screamed. Soldiers grabbed weapons. The air filled with the high-pitched hum of alien energy. Commander Rhea Hale steadied herself. Her heart hammered in her chest, but her eyes were sharp. Positions, she shouted. Do not let them reach the building. The soldiers spread out, setting up defensive lines. The storm above roared as more harvesters circled like vultures. Silent, cold, waiting. Rhea ran to the street. There, rising from a crater, was the creature. Tall. Blade-like wings. A body like living metal twisted with bone. Eyes glowing blue with hunger. It looked at Rhea the way a predator looks at prey. The creature lifted one arm. Blue energy gathered in its palm. Rhea dove aside. A beam shot past her and carved a deep line through the broken street. Open fire, she yelled. Rifles crackled. Grenades exploded. But the harvester moved with unnatural speed, dodging bullets, breaking apart into smaller segments, then forming back together like liquid metal. A soldier shouted, Our weapons, barely doing anything. We aim for the joints. Rhea ordered. Aim for the glowing veins. They fired again. Blue sparks flew. The creature staggered backward but did not fall. Then it let out a sound like crackling static. Not a scream. The summons. The sky opens. More harvesters descended. Some flew. Some crawled. Some slithered through the rubble like metallic serpents. All moved toward one goal. The survivors inside the building. Rhea realized the truth. They aren't attacking us, she whispered. They're trying to collect the survivors. Marlowe sprinted to her side. We can't hold this line forever. Rhea pointed up. Focus fire on the wings. If they can't fly, they can't escape with captives. The soldiers concentrated their shots. 2 harvesters fell, wings shattered, crashing to the ground like broken machines. But one of them landed close, too close. It grabbed a soldier with its tendrils and began lifting him into the air. Help. Help me, the soldier screamed. Rhea didn't hesitate. She fired a charged round straight at the harvester's head. Boom. Blue metal cracked. The creature dropped the soldier. Then it split apart into particles and dissolved into the wind. You're safe, Rhea said, pulling the soldier up. Stay behind the barricades. Inside the building, fear and fury. The survivors huddled in corners. Children cried. Adults whispered prayers. Dr. Lyra Soren watched as shadows moved outside the windows. We can't stay here, she whispered. They know. They always know where we are. A young mother clutched her daughter. Why? Why us? Lyra closed her eyes. Because something on this planet calls to them. Another survivor whispered, the storms. Someone else said, the symbols. A third added, the blue vines. Lyra's voice broke. We didn't understand. Not until it was too late. Suddenly, A long tendril pierced through the window. The survivors screamed. A harvester began tearing its way inside. Before it could enter, Marlowe ran in and fired a heavy plasma round, blowing the creature backward. He slammed metal shutters down over the windows. "No one leaves the building," Marlowe yelled. "Stay down and stay silent." But deep inside he knew silence wouldn't save them. Not tonight. Rhea versus the Harvester leader. Outside, Rhea caught sight of a different creature descending slowly, larger, stronger, marked with glowing symbols similar to the ones carved in the ruins. She felt dread crawl up her spine. "That one is giving orders," she muttered. The Harvester leader hovered above the ground. Its voice echoed across the ruins, cold, emotionless. "Resistance. Noted. Collection. Priority." Rhea raised her rifle. "You're not taking anyone." The creature tilted its head. "You cannot stop what has begun." Then it fired a massive energy pulse. Rhea jumped behind a collapsed vehicle as the ground exploded into a crater. The shockwave sent soldiers flying. She gritted her teeth, crawled out, and fired everything she had. The blast hit. The creature barely moved. Its body absorbed the shots like rain on steel. "Damn," Rhea whispered. "It's armored with something we've never seen." The Harvester leader descended lower, blue tendrils spreading across the street. It reached toward her. Rhea charged. She fired again and again. She threw a thermal grenade under its chest. Boom. Smoke filled the air. The creature stumbled but did not fall. Then it grabbed Rhea by the shoulder and lifted her off the ground. Her vision blurred. She felt her lungs compress. The creature brought her close to its glowing eyes. "You are not priority." A survivor's courage. A loud scream cut through the street. "Let her go." It was Dr. Lyra Soren. She stood on the steps of the building holding her data tablet high. On the screen were glowing symbols, the same ones carved into the ruins. The Harvester leader froze. The symbols pulsed. Lyra shouted again. "Release her." Something in the creature's body reacted. Its tendrils loosened. Its wings shifted. For the first time, the creature hesitated. Rhea dropped to the ground, coughing. Marlowe ran to her side. "Commander." Rhea waved him off. "I'm fine. What just happened?" Lyra stepped forward, trembling. "The symbols, they are commands. Coordinates. A language." Rhea stared at her. "You can control them?" Lyra shook her head frantically. "No, I can't control them. But I can confuse them." She showed the screen. "They use these symbols to mark harvest zones. If I overlap them, scramble them, the harvesters don't know where to go." Rhea's eyes widened. "You interfered with their system." Lyra nodded. "It was the only way to keep you alive." The Harvester leader twisted its head unnaturally, confused by the mismatched symbols. Then its eyes flashed bright blue. "Error. Recalibrating." Rhea didn't hesitate. She raised her rifle. "Now," she whispered, and fired point blank. The shot hit the creature's eye. It shrieked in static and fell backward, crashing into the ground. The other harvesters recoiled in shock. Then, the entire swarm lifted their heads to the storm and began retreating. Rhea stared up. "They're leaving?" Lyra whispered, terrified. "No, they're regrouping." Rhea clenched her fist. "They'll be back. And next time," Lyra said, voice trembling, "they won't just harvest. They'll exterminate." The storm faded by dawn, leaving the city covered in dust and blue ash from the fallen harvesters. The streets were cracked, buildings broken, and the strange vines glowed faintly in the early light. But inside the ruined government building, there was a quiet energy, fear mixed with hope. For the first time, the survivors felt like they had a chance. Commander Rhea Hale paced through the hall, helmet under her arm, eyes sharp. She didn't trust the silence. Harvesters never left without a reason. "They'll come back," she muttered. "They always come back." Captain Marlowe stood beside her. "We need a plan before nightfall." "We need answers first," Rhea replied. "We still don't know what they want." "Not really." Marlowe nodded. "Then we talk to the doctor." Lyra's warning. They found Dr. Lyra Soren in a small room lit only by a flickering lamp. She was staring at the swirling symbols on her tablet, symbols she had used to confuse the Harvester leader. She looked like someone carrying a secret she didn't want to speak. Rhea approached. "Doctor, tell us the full truth this time. No more hiding." Lyra hesitated, then sighed heavily. "We weren't just a colony," she said. "Elindra 7 wasn't chosen because it was beautiful or full of resources." "What do you mean?" Rhea asked. It was chosen, Lyra whispered, because the Union Council detected an ancient signal coming from beneath the planet's surface. Rhea's eyes narrowed. A signal from what? Lyra closed her eyes. From something buried before humans ever walked the stars. Marlowe's voice was low. You're saying the harvesters didn't come for the colony. They came for the signal. Lyra nodded. And when they arrived, they found us living on top of it. In their way. Rhea felt cold anger rise inside her. So the council knew? Yes, Lyra said. They knew the risk. But they wanted to study the ancient structure. They told us it was safe. She shook her head. They lied. Into the underground. Rhea leaned forward. Can we reach this buried structure? Lyra hesitated. Yes, but it's dangerous. The harvesters have been guarding it. They use it like a hive. A power source. Rhea's voice hardened. If that thing is what draws them, then we shut it down. Marlowe frowned. Commander, that's a suicide mission. Rhea shook her head. No. A rescue mission. 3 million people were abandoned here because of the council's lies. And we're ending that today. She turned to Lyra. Show us the entrance. The descent begins. The survivors watched anxiously as Rhea gathered a small strike team. 8 soldiers, Lyra and Marlowe. Lyra led them to a collapsed subway station at the edge of the city. Vines crawled over the broken concrete, glowing brighter as the group approached. They react to the energy under the ground, Lyra said. The closer we get, the stronger they shine. Rhea touched one vine with her gloved hand. It pulsed like a beating heart. What did the harvesters do to this planet? Lyra answered softly. They didn't change it. They awakened it. The entrance tunnel was dark and cold. Blue light flickered along the walls like veins in a living organism. Rhea raised her rifle. We move carefully. No one fires unless ordered. They walked deeper. And deeper. And deeper. Until the ruins of the colony were far above them. The first chamber. After an hour they entered a massive underground chamber. The walls were smooth metal, not human, not natural. Ancient. In the center stood a towering pillar covered with the same strange symbols seen across the ruins. Lyra whispered, This is the signal tower. This is what the council wanted. Rhea approached slowly. The air around the pillar hummed. Marlowe stepped closer too. Commander, look. Inside the pillar, beneath the surface. Something glowed. Not blue. Red. Alive. What the hell is that? A soldier whispered. Lyra's eyes filled with fear. That is not technology, she said. It's organic. Rhea turned sharply. You mean it's alive? Yes, Lyra whispered. And it's the one calling the harvesters. The harvester hive. A loud metallic click echoed through the chamber. Rhea spun around, weapon ready. From the ceiling, large pods opened. Pods shaped like cocoons. One by one, harvesters crawled out, unfolding their blade-like limbs and spreading their wings. They were here the whole time, Marlowe whispered. Guarding it, Rhea said. Protecting whatever that thing is. The harvester leader emerged from a larger cocoon. Its body had repaired itself. Its eyes burned brighter than before. You should not have come. Rhea stepped forward. We're here to save the people your swarm took. The creature tilted its head. The harvest is necessary. Not anymore, Rhea growled. The harvester leader raised its claws. Colonists, our resources. Rhea's eyes filled with rage. No, they're humans. She gripped her rifle. And humanity protects its own. The decision. Before the harvesters could strike, Lyra shouted. Commander. The pillar, if we shut it down they lose connection. Their hive collapses. Rhea froze. Can you do it? Lyra nodded slowly. Yes, but I need time. Rhea faced the harvester swarm. Then we buy her that time. Marlowe shouted to the squad. Form a circle. Hold the line. The soldiers aimed their weapons. Harvesters screeched, wings unfolding. Rhea lifted her rifle and braced herself. Lyra. Do it. Lyra ran to the pillar, fingers shaking as she accessed the glowing symbols. Rhea took a deep breath. The harvesters charged. And the underground battle for 3 million souls began. The chamber exploded into chaos. Harvesters lunged forward in a blur of metal wings and glowing blue veins. Their screeches echoed across the underground hall, vibrating through the walls and into the soldiers' bones. Commander Rhea Hale fired first. Her shot hit a harvester in the joint of its wing, breaking the limb and sending the creature crashing to the floor. Blue liquid splashed across the ground like alien blood. Hold the line. Rhea shouted. Do not let them reach the doctor. The soldiers formed a tight circle around Dr. Lyra Soren as she worked at the glowing pillar. Sparks flew from the panel she was trying to override. Her fingers moved fast, tapping symbols, crossing patterns, breaking the ancient code. She whispered to herself, come on, please work. But the harvesters were relentless. The swarm presses forward. A harvester dove from above, its tendrils spread wide. A soldier screamed as it grabbed him, lifting him from the ground. Rhea spun, fired, and the creature shattered into pieces, dropping the soldier. Marlowe rushed forward, pulling the injured man back into the formation. They're adapting. Marlowe shouted. They're learning where we aim. Then aim somewhere else. Rhea yelled back. 2 harvesters crawled across the ceiling like twisted metal spiders. Another burrowed through the ground, bursting out behind the soldiers. A young trooper panicked. Commander, we're surrounded. Rhea fired again. Then fight. Humanity doesn't die hiding. The squad focused fire, blasting the closest attackers. For every harvester they destroyed, another crawled out of a pod or dropped from the ceiling. Rhea could feel exhaustion creeping in. But she didn't stop. Not today. Not when millions of lives waited above. Lyra faces the core. At the pillar, Lyra's breath was shaking. The symbols pulsed under her hands. Her screen glowed red. Suddenly, the symbols changed on their own. Scrolling. Rearranging. Fighting her. Lyra's eyes widened. They know what I'm doing. Rhea shouted from across the chamber, then work faster. I'm trying. A harsh static scream filled the room. The harvester leader stepped from the shadows behind the pillar. Its body was cracked but reconstructed. Its wings glowed like burning lightning. It stared at Lyra. Interference. Lyra froze. The leader raised its blade. Rhea didn't hesitate. Lyra, move. Lyra ducked just as the blade sliced through the air, cutting part of the pillar's shell. Sparks erupted. Marlowe fired his cannon. The explosive blast hit the leader, pushing it back, but not stopping it. The creature hissed, blue lightning crawling across its body. Rhea makes the choice. Rhea ran straight toward the harvester leader. Commander. Marlowe shouted. That's suicide. Rhea ignored him. She slid under a sweeping tendril and fired upward, hitting a weak spot beneath the creature's ribs. The harvester staggered. Rhea jumped onto its back, gripping its armored plates. The creature screamed, its wings flaring wildly. She pressed her rifle against the creature's glowing spine. You want us? Come get us. She fired point blank. The creature convulsed, electricity bursting out of its limbs. But instead of falling, it grabbed Rhea and threw her across the chamber. She crashed into a stone wall, pain exploding in her ribs. Marlowe ran to her. Commander. I'm fine, she gasped. Keep fighting. But she wasn't fine. Her vision blurred. Blood ran down her forehead. Still, she pushed herself back up. Because if she fell, they all died. The ancient core awakens. Lyra slammed her palm against the pillar's control panel. Almost, there. With a final command, she overloaded the symbols. The pillar pulsed red. Then black. Then, the entire chamber began to shake. Marlowe looked around. What did you do? Lyra whispered, terrified. I turned off the core. The humming stopped. The air fell silent. The vines on the walls dimmed. The harvesters froze mid-attack. Rhea looked around. Is it working? Lyra's hands trembled. The hive connection is failing. Without the core's energy signal, they can't communicate. They can't coordinate. Rhea shouted to her troops, now. Hit everything that's still moving. The soldiers opened fire. One by one the harvesters fell. Some collapsed like broken puppets. Some dissolved into blue dust. Others screeched and scratched at the floor, unable to stand. The leader stumbled backward, its wings flickering. It looked at Rhea with fury. You cannot. U.S. Rhea raised her rifle. I don't need to end you. She stepped closer. Just your hive. One final shot. The leader collapsed. Silence at last. The chamber grew quiet. The vines stopped glowing completely. The pods shut down. The remaining harvesters lay like dead machines scattered across the floor. Marlowe let out a breath he'd been holding. We did it? Lyra stared at the pillar. No. This was only the hive mind node under the city. But their main hive, the real one, it's deeper. Rhea wiped blood from her mouth. How deep? Lyra swallowed. Deep enough that the council never told us about it. Rhea stiffened. There's more? Yes, Lyra whispered. And if we don't destroy it, the swarm will rebuild. Rhea looked at her team, hurt, tired, bleeding but alive. Then she looked up at the ceiling, toward the millions still waiting for rescue. Her voice was steady, strong. Then we finish this. The underground chamber was silent. The harvester's hive lay broken. Sparks from destroyed machines flickered across cracked walls. Dust hung thick in the air. Soldiers leaned on each other, exhausted. Commander Rhea Hale wiped blood from her forehead, breathing heavily. Yet there was no time to rest. Dr. Lyra Soren, still trembling, pointed toward the far end of the chamber. This is only the secondary node. The main hive, the real core, is deeper. And it's where they're keeping the captives. Rhea clenched her fists. Then we go deeper. We save them all or we don't come back. Marlowe, leaning against a broken wall, groaned. Deeper? After all that we've just faced. Rhea looked at him, eyes burning. We don't leave anyone behind. Humanity does not abandon its own. The final descent. The strike team moved into the shadowed tunnels, deeper than any human had ever been. The walls pulsed faintly with blue energy, the lingering presence of the harvesters. Every step was tense. Every shadow a potential threat. Lyra guided them, her hands trembling over the tablet displaying symbols that now seemed to react to their movement. These markings, they're still active. They're like a map to the main hive. The survivors above ground were safe for now, but Rhea knew time was short. The planet's unstable crust could collapse at any moment, and the main hive would not wait for mercy. The main hive. After what felt like hours, the team entered a massive cavern. It was enormous, bigger than any city hall they had ever seen. Pulsing blue lights filled the ceiling. Alien machinery intertwined with living tissue, glowing veins running across the walls like lightning. And in the center, millions of captives, human and alien alike, were trapped in suspended energy fields. Their faces were pale, terrified. Their cries echoed across the cavern. Rhea's stomach churned. They're alive. Every single one. The harvester leader they had destroyed earlier had been only a guard. From the shadows, more harvesters began to emerge, smaller but faster, coordinating through the main hive's energy. They were ready for war. The battle begins. Form a circle. Rhea shouted. Soldiers raised their weapons, scanning the cavern. Energy blasts flew, lighting up the walls. Sparks and debris fell everywhere. Lyra ran toward the control nodes around the hive. I can disable the energy fields. But I need 5 minutes. Then we hold them off. Rhea barked. The soldiers opened fire. One harvester dove toward Rhea, claws extended. She rolled aside, firing at its glowing joint. It screeched and fell into the floor, shattering into pieces. Marlowe aimed at another swarm advancing toward the prisoners. We can't let them touch the captives. The battle was relentless. The harvesters moved like lightning, fast, smart, adaptive, but humanity moved with courage, determination, and unity. Every soldier knew one truth: these lives were worth fighting for. Lyra's heroic moment. Lyra tapped the control panel furiously. Blue sparks flew. The energy fields holding the captives flickered. Almost there, she cried. One harvester spotted her and lunged. Rhea intercepted, firing point blank. The creature exploded in a shower of sparks, buying Lyra precious seconds. Finally, Lyra pressed the last sequence. The energy fields around the captives vanished. The suspended humans collapsed to the ground, free at last. The survivors scrambled, shaking, crying, hugging each other. Relief filled the cavern, but the harvesters were not finished. The remaining swarm converged toward the humans, but without the hive's central energy, their coordination faltered. Their movements became erratic, slower. Rhea raised her rifle, taking aim at the largest remaining harvester. This is it. Finish them. The end of the harvesters. With precision fire, the team struck every remaining harvester. Each creature fell or dissolved into dust. The main hive itself began to collapse. Blue energy pulsed erratically, then went dark. The cavern shook violently. Rhea helped the last survivors to their feet. Move. Out of here. They ran through the tunnels as the entire hive crumbled behind them. Dust, sparks, and debris filled the air. The once terrifying cavern became a tomb for the creatures that had terrorized the planet for centuries. Outside, the sun rose. The storm clouds had cleared. The survivors looked at the sky, exhausted but alive. Humanity's triumph. Rhea stood on a cliff overlooking the ruined city. Below, the rescued humans gathered, waiting for evacuation ships. Soldiers hugged civilians. Children cried with joy. Lyra approached Rhea, exhausted but smiling. We did it, we saved them. Ria nodded, looking at the horizon. Yes. Humanity refused to let 3 million souls die. They tried to write us off. They tried to leave them behind. But we didn't give up. The commander turned to the sky. Let the galaxy remember this. When others abandon hope, humanity rises. In the distance, the first human rescue ships descended, their lights bright against the dawn. Families climbed aboard, crying, laughing, finally safe. And humanity's message was clear. You called them acceptable losses. We call them lives worth saving. The galaxy would never forget the night Earth